Okay, so my name is Lucas, and I'm 29. Honestly, if you ever thought being the reliable one in your family meant you'd get any loyalty, respect, or even just basic kindness, you might want to take a seat. Growing up, being responsible wasn't something we shared in my house. It was a duty just dumped on whoever wouldn't let it fall. And because I was the oldest, the one with a job and an apartment, the one who actually used their brain, well, I became the family's go-to person. Yeah, that was me. I paid for things more times than I can count. Surprise bills, no problem, I was the fixer. My dad's car insurance, paid every single month right from my bank account. At first, it didn't feel like a handout. It felt like family, you know. Like stepping up because nobody else could, or maybe they just wouldn't. But slowly, painfully, it dawned on me that I wasn't appreciated. I was being used. It started small. They'd only call when they needed something. I was never included in the inside jokes. The last-minute family get-togethers, I'd find out about them when the pictures popped up online. But I kept telling myself it was nothing. We're all busy, right? Life happens. People forget to invite you. It doesn't mean they've forgotten you, except it kept happening. And each time it hurt a little bit more. I'd scroll through social media and see my sister, Emma. She's 2 years younger than me, always bouncing from job to job, but somehow always on vacation, tagging everyone in posts about family nights. I never heard a peep from my brother Josh. He used to text me every week. He only ever contacted me when his student loan payment bounced. Mom would call occasionally, but there was always this awkward, guilty vibe, like she was subtly reminding me I was loaded and should be happy to bail them out. Honestly, I probably would have kept doing it, too. I probably would have just choked down the loneliness and pretended everything was okay if it wasn't for what went down last month. My birthday. Look, I'm not usually the type to get bent out of shape if someone forgets a card, but this year I wanted to do something special just for myself. I reserved a private room at this downtown place I'd been wanting to check out. It wasn't exactly budget-friendly, but I thought, I'm turning 29. 1 year shy of the big 30. Might as well celebrate. I paid the whole deposit up front, planned the menu, even ordered special cupcakes because Em can't have nuts and Josh is lactose intolerant. I took care of absolutely everything. No need to bring your wallet, just show up. I sent messages. I made it as ridiculously simple as I could for them to just walk in, relax, eat, and have a good time. I even sent reminders. Not just once, not twice, but 3 times that week. Everyone RSVP'd. Emma sent a thumbs up. Josh said it sounded good. Mom replied with a heart. So I got to the lounge early, put on my best jacket, had my music ready, drinks chilling, the lights all dim and cozy. I sat by the window, watching the city lights come on, thinking this might actually be all right. 7:00 rolled around, then 7:15. I got myself a drink, trying to convince myself they were just running late. They always were, though. By 8 o'clock, the waiter was clearing away the untouched appetizers, giving me this really sorry look. I was still all alone. My stomach started to churn, but it wasn't hunger, It was that awful, familiar feeling of dread. I grabbed my phone, automatically opened Instagram, and bam, there it was. A huge group photo. My sister, my brother, Mom, even some cousins I hadn't seen in ages, the whole gang at this massive table, all toasting each other and laughing. The caption said family first and the location tag. A fancy steakhouse like 10 minutes from where I was sitting. I just stared at that picture for what felt like forever. I couldn't blink, couldn't breathe. I was just frozen, completely stunned. I looked at the comments. Stuff like, wish I was there, and looks amazing, and so much love in this pic. I kept waiting for someone to say, where's Lucas? But nobody did. No one even seemed to notice I was missing. Or maybe they did. Maybe that was the whole point. I didn't text, didn't call anyone. I just paid the bill, left a good tip, and walked out. I wasn't angry exactly, just empty. It felt like that part of me that always made excuses for them just shut down. When I got home, I didn't cry. I didn't yell or anything. I just sat there in the dark, thinking about all the bills I'd been paying quietly, automatically, for years. Emma's phone, Josh's Netflix, Mom's utilities, insurance, all the streaming subscriptions, even those little Venmo payments for groceries that I knew were really for takeout. I was the one holding their lives together, working behind the scenes, and they couldn't even drag themselves to dinner last night. I made my coffee this morning, sat at my computer, and logged into every single account I manage for them. Didn't say a word, didn't even shoot them a text, just started clicking, cancel, remove payment, turn off auto-renew. One by one, I shut it all down. I was almost done kicking Emma off the Spotify account when my phone blew up. It was her. Hey, did you forget to pay the phone bill? My service just went out. No, sorry, I missed dinner. No, nothing, just clueless, like something was glitching. Because there's no way I would stop taking care of her, right? I stared at that text for a long time. Then I went on Instagram, found that stupid family photo, and posted a story. Just a plain black background with white letters. Funny how family forgets who keeps the lights on. I didn't tag anyone. They knew. An hour later, my phone was ringing off the hook. Missed calls, frantic texts, even a voicemail from my mom like, "Lucas, we need to talk. This isn't right." I didn't block them. That felt too quick, too clean. No, I wanted them to stew. I wanted them to feel the silence. Because for the first time in forever, I wasn't cleaning up their messes. I wasn't the air they breathed. I was just gone, and that freaked them out more than anything. By noon, I had 17 messages staring back at me. Emma sent 3 crying emojis and a voice message I never even opened. Josh texted, "Come on, man, you're being dramatic." Dramatic? Yeah, right. Like it's no big deal to sit alone on your birthday while your whole family's partying across town without you. Like I wasn't already ticked off after supporting them for years, only to get tossed aside like a used napkin. I took a sip of coffee, shaking my head in disbelief. Around 2:00, Mom called again. This time I picked up. "Lucas," she said, real careful, like she wasn't sure what she was going to get. I just stayed quiet. "I heard you were upset." "You heard," I said, dragging out the words. "Noticed I wasn't at dinner, did you?" She hesitated. "Sweetheart, it wasn't." Emma said I was busy. I cut her off. That I had other plans. I almost laughed. It was so ridiculous. Other plans, like the dinner I planned, the one everyone confirmed they were coming to. "Lucas," she sighed. "We didn't mean to hurt your feelings." "You didn't mean to," I repeated, the taste of that hurt lingering. There was a long silence. Then she said, "You know we love you." That's when something inside me broke. It was quiet, like a little twig snapping under pressure. "No," I said. "You love that I pay the bills. You love that I always say yes. You love having someone to clean up your messes, fix your problems, bail you out. But me. The person you forgot existed the second I stopped being useful to you." "Lucas, don't say that," she whispered, and I heard it then, the real fear in her voice, because I wasn't screaming, I wasn't begging, I wasn't even mad, I was just finished, and honestly that seemed to freak her out more than anything else. "I'm not trying to be mean," I whispered. "I'm just saying it how it is." Then another pause, and the desperation came. "So what, you're just cutting us off now?" I almost responded, but instead I said, "Mom, did you even know Emma put up family first while I was eating my birthday dinner all alone?" Silence. I paid the bill, I reserved the lounge, I even got her a special cupcake, but I guess family only matters when I'm the one writing the check. "I didn't see that post." "Well, you do now." "So yeah, I've canceled everything, no more automatic payments. No more can I borrow, just until Friday. I'm not angry, I'm simply not playing along anymore. But how are we supposed to?" That's when I cut her off. "You're not supposed to lean on me. You're all grown-ups. Figure it out yourselves, just like I did." I hung up before she could even get another word in. That night, there was a knock on my apartment door. It was Josh. He was standing there, arms crossed, his face tight, looking like he was a mix of guilty and pissed off. "Can we talk?" he asked. I leaned against the door frame. "I don't think there's anything left to talk about." He gave this short, fake laugh. "You're really doing this, just ditching your own family?" "Family ditched me a long time ago," I said. Josh shifted, trying to find some kind of argument. "You think you're the only one struggling? Like you're the only one who's ever had to give things up?" "Nope," I replied. "It's always me making sacrifices while everyone else just sits around ordering dessert." His jaw clenched. "You weren't even going to tell me, were you?" I asked, my voice tight. "Just let me find out from some random picture, like I'm some creep looking through someone else's Instagram." He mumbled something about it not being a big deal. "Yeah, you're right," I said, my voice flat. "It's not anymore." He stood there for a second, maybe thinking about arguing, apologizing, or punching something, but then he just turned and left. And that still wasn't the end of it. That wasn't even the worst part. Because they had no clue, they just didn't care that the money I'd been sending, all that support, it wasn't just some handout. I was way more involved than they knew. I cautioned loans, we had joint family plans, I was on their utility bills, their insurance. Some of that stuff you can't just magically erase. Some of it needed a serious overhaul. So that's exactly what I did the very next day. I woke up early the next morning, earlier than I usually do. It wasn't because I was stressed or couldn't sleep. It was this weird, peaceful calm, like a huge weight had been lifted. The sunlight was streaming through the blinds in these pretty stripes. My coffee tasted stronger than usual. Even the quiet in my apartment felt clean. For the first time in ages, I didn't feel like I was juggling a million things at once, trying to keep everything from crashing down. For once, I could actually breathe. So I sat down with my laptop and started going through all my accounts, real slow and careful. My brother's car loan was first. I co-signed it 5 years ago, when he couldn't get approved himself. I had no clue he'd already blown it twice until that morning. I called the bank trying to get his name off, but they said I needed his signature to transfer the liability. Still, I filled out the paperwork. Just getting the ball rolling made me feel a little better. Then there was Emma. She'd been on my health insurance through work since she lost her part-time gig last year and couldn't afford it on her own. I added her, figured it was just temporary. But she never got another job, never even mentioned getting off the plan. Just kept sending me Venmos with things like thanks after every doctor visit. Even when she didn't send anything, I filed to take her off. And then there was Mom's electricity bill. It's been in my name forever, ever since their power got cut off years ago because they didn't pay. I completely forgot it was still hooked up to me for the last 6 months. The bills kept climbing, $180, then $210, then $240. And nobody said a word about the lights being on because of me. I called the power company, explained everything, and asked to change the account to her name. They said Mom had to apply as a new customer and go through a credit check. I told them to go ahead and do it. I just wanted it handled. Look, I know some folks might think I went overboard, that I should have given them a heads up, you know? But here's the deal. They never warned me, not when they cooked up that secret dinner. Not when they used my name, my dough, my trust like it meant nothing. So I didn't feel like I owed them any fancy warnings. A couple days later, the calls started flooding in. It wasn't just family anymore. Suddenly, it was debt collectors, the car loan place, even my health insurance company asking if I knew my coverage was gone. One even called my emergency contact, and Emma had put me down. I got a new number by Friday. Then that weekend, I got an email from Emma. The subject line, "Are you serious?" The email itself, just one little paragraph. It said I was mad, but cutting everyone off like this was cruel. She said I should have talked to them like grown-ups instead of treating them like I didn't know them. She called me low, really low. I just sat there staring at that email for ages. When I finally wrote back, I kept it short and sweet. I told her strangers don't expect me to pay their bills. Maybe that's the problem, I thought. You guys never saw me as family, just a walking ATM that answered texts. Never heard back. 3 days after that, Josh showed up at my office. I have no clue how he found me. I never told him where I worked, but I guess that's what happens when people suddenly need a favor. They get resourceful. My assistant buzzed me, said some guy was in the lobby, looked like he was about to explode. I told her to send him up. He walked in looking completely wiped out. No anger, just utter exhaustion, like he hadn't closed his eyes in days. Dark circles were heavy under his eyes, and his hands were twisting like he didn't know what to do with them. "You actually canceled the loan?" he asked, just like that, no greeting. "I started the process," I said. "You need to sign your part." He didn't get it. "Why would you do that?" "You know I can't handle it right now on my own." I gave him a look. "Maybe you should have been at my birthday dinner, or any of the dinners he didn't include me in. Or maybe you should have checked on the loan instead of assuming I'd always be there to bail you out." Josh ran a hand through his hair, looking frustrated. "We thought you were doing okay, man. We just thought you enjoyed being the helpful one." I leaned in. "Here's the deal," I said. "It's not my responsibility to beg for respect or love or a seat at the table." He sat down as if his legs gave out. "So that's it. You're just cutting yourself off from the family." I shook my head. "I didn't erase myself. I erased the version of me you all relied on without giving anything back." There was a long silence. Then Josh said something I didn't expect. "Mom's been crying every day." That sentence should have hit me. Maybe some guilt, maybe regret, but it didn't. It felt right. "Maybe she should deal with the choices she made," I told him, just like I did alone on my birthday. I glanced up and something shifted. For the first time in ages, Josh really saw me. Not the walking ATM, not just his older brother, but a person, you know. Someone with their own breaking point, their own life. He just walked away, didn't say a thing, but that was just the beginning. The real kicker, a week later, this official-looking envelope lands in my mailbox, my dad's return address. I hadn't even spoken his name in over a year. And what was inside, well, it made everything before seem like a joke. It was one of those thick, padded envelopes, the kind you use for important documents or something. My name was written on the front in this cramped, shaky handwriting I knew instantly, even though I hadn't seen it in years. It stopped me dead. My dad. We hadn't spoken since right after college. No big fight or anything, just this slow, painful drift. He drank way too much, always blamed everyone else, and thought the world revolved around him. Mom stayed with him for the family, but I knew I had to accept that I'd never have the dad I always wanted. So I moved out and eventually stopped answering his calls. If he needed cash, he'd go through Mom. Trouble, my other siblings dealt with it. I kept my distance and I had my reasons. But this envelope, this wasn't him. He never wrote letters, barely texted. The man thought email was some kind of government conspiracy. I perched on the arm of my couch, the letter clutched in my hand, that familiar feeling of wanting to know and not wanting to know swirling inside me. I unfolded it, the paper crackling, and found some papers tucked inside. The letter came first. "Lucas, I doubt you'll even see this," it began. "But if you're reading this, you haven't completely cut ties, and if that's the case, you might get why I'm doing this." He knew about everything. The dinner, he wrote, he hadn't been invited either. Honestly, I didn't know if that shocked me or not. Then I read that post, family first, and I actually snorted. It was so messed up. I couldn't believe it. I messed up a lot, mostly by figuring people would always be around, no matter how badly I treated them, but even the strongest connections crumble if you keep at it. "I've got something in here," he continued. "I've been sitting on it. It's not a handout, it's mine. I'm giving it to you because even with everything, you're the only one who stood on your own 2 feet. The only one who never came begging. The only one I couldn't break. Do whatever you want with it. You don't owe me a thing. Just don't let them get it, Dad." Underneath, I had no clue what to anticipate. Maybe some old photos or a story he wanted me to have. But that wasn't it. It was a deed, a transfer of ownership to me. I didn't get it at first, but then I saw the address. It was this old, rickety cabin by a lake my grandpa's. It had been in the family forever, and after he died, there was this huge fight over who got it. Everyone figured my uncle snagged it. I even remember Mom saying, "You know, Dad messed that one up just like everything else." But get this, he hadn't. He'd kept it all along, and now it was mine. All legal and official, the whole deal. That night, I dove into researching the property. It had shot up in value over the years. The land itself was worth almost $300,000. Plus, the area had become a total resort town, so rentals were crazy popular. I checked the tax records. He hadn't rented it out once. It had just sat there, untouched, silent. And now it was mine. It hit me then the timing was no accident. It felt like my dad, messed up as he was finally drawing a line in the sand. Like he was saying, "They might have forgotten about you, but I didn't." Or maybe he just wanted to make sure someone in the family actually did something with it besides taking selfies and having empty toasts on weekends. Whatever his reason, it changed everything. I kept the letter to myself at first. I needed some time to process it all. The next weekend, I drove up to the cabin. The air was so fresh and clean, the lake was perfectly still. The house was old, yeah, but it was sturdy. It needed some fixing up for sure, but it wasn't falling apart. It had good, solid bones. And I thought maybe, just maybe, I could build something here, something of my own, something completely separate from all the craziness I'd left behind. I didn't post anything online, didn't even take any pictures. I was chilling on the porch, sipping coffee and enjoying a peaceful moment. Of course, peace never lasts long with my family. About 2 weeks later, Emma showed up at my place. No heads up, not even a quick text. Just a knock on the door while I was eating dinner. I opened it and saw her, makeup smeared, eyes all puffy. "We need to talk," she said, her voice trembling. I stayed put in the doorway. "You haven't answered my emails," she went on, "or my messages. Josh said you talked to Dad." I folded my arms. "I didn't. I got a letter." Her expression changed a bit. "And did he tell you about the cabin?" There it was, the thing I was waiting for. I didn't say anything. Her voice became sharper. "You knew that was supposed to go to Josh?" "No," I said, trying to sound detached. "You just assumed." Like everything else I thought, her nostrils flared. "We deserve to be part of that. It's part of the family legacy." I actually started laughing. I couldn't help it. "You mean the family that forgets I'm alive unless they need something? The same family that blew me off on my birthday and celebrated without me?" "That wasn't about you," she snapped. "It just worked out that way." "No," I said, stepping closer. "It always works out that way. I make space for everyone. I make time, I make payments, and I get the scraps if I'm lucky. But not anymore." Her eyes started to fill with tears, but I didn't soften. I watched her search for some kind of sympathy on my face, and she found nothing. "We could sell it," she finally offered. "Split the money, it would help. Mom, Josh is struggling. You don't even need it." "Exactly," I said. "Nah, I'm not selling it. I don't need to. It's the only thing in this whole family that I got free and clear, no catches, so I'm keeping it." She looked like she wanted to lose it, but she just spun around and stomped off. That was the last time I saw her face to face. After that, things chilled out. My mom stopped calling Josh, sent some catty texts, and then gave up. Emma stopped following me online, but I didn't do anything about it. I didn't run after them. I didn't defend myself. I just let them stew in the quiet they'd created. Instead, I fixed up the cabin, one thing at a time. I put on new siding, redid the floors, painted the walls. I'd put on old tunes on the radio and sip coffee on the porch. Eventually, I started renting it out sometimes and keeping it for myself the rest of the year. My own little world, my own peace and quiet. Sometimes, when the lake is still and everything's calm, I think about how close I came to letting them completely break me. How simple it would have been to just keep paying, keep hoping, keep waiting for a place at a table I never really belonged at. But now I have my own table, my own place, and the only people there with me are the ones who actually bring something real to the table. So no, I didn't destroy the bridge. I just stopped holding it up all by myself, and I just watched them figure out it wouldn't stay up without me.